Happy 2022 Cubs fam. I hope you guys are all having a great week, had a great holiday with your family. Hopefully all of you are now ready to tackle 2022. And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the current state of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Reviewing 2021, looking forward to 2022. Where is the game at right now? How do we feel about things right now? What looks good? What looks bad? What can improve? And we're going to break all of this down into 8 categories. And I'll reveal those 8 categories to you guys right now. And then we'll hit them all individually just to kind of break down where we feel this game is at. First, we're going to talk about Grand Arena. Then we will talk about Conquest. We're going to talk a little bit about the gear crunch in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes as well. CG has offered to change some things there. We've seen some of those changes. We're waiting on some others. How do we feel about that? We're going to talk about ships. That's right. We will talk about ships. It's a big part of this game. Territory Wars is going to be another point of discussion. We saw a lot of Territory Wars changes. How do we feel about that currently in the game? Relic 9. How do we feel about relics? Where the availability of relic materials, etc., is going to be a point of discussion. Other needs that this game has right now. Where are some current areas of the game that are getting left by the wayside right now? Things that we want to see. And then also review character releases that we've seen and how do we feel about all of the new characters and content coming to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about what I feel like we have to look forward to in 2021 coming to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. So first and foremost, let's talk about Grand Arena. Now, I personally am a big fan of a lot of the changes that have come to Grand Arena in the game right now. I actually feel like Grand Arena is in the best place it has been in a long time. Now, the number one thing that I see people bring up is the matchmaking. And I am personally seeing the matchmaking do some good things, do some questionable things, but the biggest thing to keep in mind is that matchmaking is going to be self-regulating itself as we see more wins and more losses. It's going to kind of filter us into the zone that we need to be in. I'm going to give you a great example here. We lost a very close Grand Arena match to our friend Berserk here, and this guy had 6 GLs. We only have 3, and we almost beat this guy. Now, you look at his GAC score, 660 was his legacy score, and this guy was probably struggling in his bracket. And when he came down and faced me, the only reason we lost is because we took a gamble against an Akbar fleet, tried to first order it to get some higher banners because we were, really needing to get high banners in the match. And as a result, we lost. Our first order wasn't quite able to handle that Akbar team. Otherwise, we would have probably been able to win this match. So what am I getting at here? Just because somebody has more GLs than you doesn't mean that you can't beat them. Just because it looks like a mismatch doesn't mean that you can't win. Sometimes the whole reason this guy, I think, is probably facing me is because he lost several Grand Arenas in a row and kind of gets knocked down the peg. Now, what that kind of translates to as a discussion piece is, for Grand Arena, the more you win, the harder your competition will get. And so a lot of us will probably go through winning and losing streaks as we kind of get to that area where we're going to land on a regular basis. For people who are used to dominating Grand Arena, losing very few matches, this might be an adjustment for them. They might have a problem with that because they're getting filtered up into the higher competitions and having a harder time maintaining their streaks. And so if you don't feel like that's okay, then this might not be something you're okay with. I personally feel like that makes sense. The more you win, you should go face other people that are winning. And so I personally feel like that's fantastic for the competitive nature of the game. It's just going to take a little bit for the matchmaking to even out. So I would be patient with that and give it another month or two before really casting it aside. The rewards are amazing. Getting hundreds of crystals from winning is amazing. Getting crystals at the end of the round is amazing. And we're getting a daily deposit. The only people I think that are really going to have a problem with the new crystal income in the game are people who are every single day getting rank 1 in Grand Arena, in Squad Arena. And so for me, I can kind of appreciate where people are coming from that do have a problem with that, but I think that's a very small percentage of the game that required Shard Mafia cooperation to get. And so we've got some people at the tippy top who maybe are having a hard time with this, but for the vast majority of the player base, the crystal income is an improvement, and especially for free-to-play players who are at the beginning of the game, who aren't going to be able to get to the top of their squad arena for a very long time because they're not spending thousands of dollars to get a GL day one. I feel like this is absolutely one of the best things that happened in 2021, and I will defend that and stand by it. It's not perfect, but I think it is very confidently a huge improvement in the game. All right, let's talk about the state of Conquest, my friends. Conquest is not where we want it to be. The latest version of Conquest was an improvement, but I don't feel like it was improvement enough. And the number one thing that we need to talk about in the current state of Conquest is feats. Right now, there are too many grindy feats in Conquest. I think that is the number one thing that needs to change in the game right now. As you look at what you need to do to get these max crates, to get these characters, how much repetitive feating are we doing right now? And those are the things I think CG needs to veer away from, because it's just not fun. It's just a chore. It's not a challenge. It is just testing our grit and our will to live in the game. I think that we need to get rid of grindy feats in the game. I actually don't have a problem with a lot of other mechanics in the game right now for Conquest. I don't have a problem with stamina. I don't have a problem with the energy cost. I really wish that they would get rid of this whole pay to have your free data disk swapping, but I think that's clearly something they want to paywall, so whatever. But the number one thing that I'm going to be on the top of the rooftops yelling out as long as it exists is grindy feats where you have to do 14 of the same battle, and the only way to get this feat is to do 14 battles, which is going to translate to facing the same node 14 times. It's just not fun. It has no place in this game, and that's the number one thing that needs to change about Conquest. But other than that, and we'll talk a little bit about this in character releases, I actually really like the reward structure of Conquest. The amount of stuff that we are getting as a player base from Conquest, if you're able to do those max feats, I think is really, really healthy for this game, especially because the Conquest characters we've gotten so far have just been phenomenal. Well, kind of remains to be seen with Boba Fett, but Maul and Ahsoka, both really good. I love my Razor Crest as well. So that's pretty much all I have to say about Conquest. Now, let's talk a little bit about the current state of the gear crunch. We had the state of the gear elixir, as Crumb called it. Let's pop that on the screen right now. And I really like a lot of the changes that came because of this. I expect right now that what we've seen so far is just half of the story of what we're going to see. They have told us already that there's going to be multiple phases of the of addressing the gear crunch. So I'm expecting here early 2022 to have an update on what the next phase of gear changes is going to be. I think that the first round was good. I think that having a lot of those, that new steady gear flow has improved my overall quality of life in the game. I don't think it addresses all of the problems we have yet, and especially when it comes to relics. Getting those upper tiers of relics is still a huge struggle for a lot of people. And so, and we'll talk a little bit about that with the state of relics. But right now, I think this is also one of the best things that I saw from 2021. It just feels incomplete. And so going on to 2022, I am really anxious to see CG give us an update soon. Q1, right at the beginning of the year. What is the next phase of these gear changes? You kind of built this up for us, went kind of silent. I think that maybe had to do at the end of the year, but I would really like to see an update on that. Now, we're going to also talk about fleet here. The current state of ships. If I'm perfectly honest, I think this is one of the worst parts of the game right now. Now, ships has kind of been that way for a long time, but with the Executor being the meta right now, there's really no counters to the Executor. I mean, you can get your Malevolence to work. There's things you can get to work. And we've got so many fleets still that are just incomplete. I would really, really like to see 2022 focus on actually giving us full fleets. We do not have a full Resistance fleet. Look at this. Look, and don't make fun of my Radis, by the way. I mean, why would I farm the Radis? I've only got 3 Resistance ships even available to face other teams with the Radis. And so that is, I'm going to get crap for that. But yeah, there you go. There's my Radis. Other teams as well. We don't have a full First Order fleet. We don't have full fleets for so many fleets out there right now. Empire, we've got barely a full fleet, but we got 3 capital ships for Empire and not enough ships to do anything with. Give us a reason to farm these fleets, Capital Games. And for the love of all that is holy, if the rumors are true about Nihilus getting his capital ship, please give us a full fleet. If we have a Sith capital ship right now, look at all of the Sith ships we've got. We're going to be in the same position that we are in for the Resistance fleet right now, and it's just unacceptable. We need more ships in this game, not more capital ships. I would really like to see these ships round out fleets so that we can actually have full roster, effort on our ship squads. And speaking of ship squads, we absolutely need to have the ship squad selector tab. That is one of the most overdue quality of life features in this game. I really don't care. This is kind of where I'm at. I've heard CG say that coding-wise, it is much harder to put into the game than it is for characters. Okay. I don't care. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe that's an explanation on why it's taken a little bit to happen, but that doesn't negate the fact that that is a quality of life feature that this game needs. Period. It's a solution that needs to be solved, and I don't know how you're going to do it. I'm not the coding master. I don't know how hard it is or how impossible it feels, but that doesn't change it. It's something the community needs. And so I really want to see that in 2022 going forward. All right, now we're going to talk about territory wars. I think there's a big question that I saw in my chat. People were asking about territory wars. How do we feel about where territory wars is at, and how do we feel about Omicrons in territory wars? I have not seen the current changes to territory war structure improve the feel and overall competitive nature of territory wars at all. Now, I'm going to be honest. For me personally, that is anecdotal experience. I could be off base on this and maybe out of touch with the general community experience. I do know that the guilds that were already relishing in and enjoying territory wars are enjoying territory wars quite a lot now, and they like that increase in rewards, and we've seen a lot of excitement for those guilds. Based on what I observe, however, those guilds represent a very small percentage of the actual community at large. I don't think that these changes have been good for the game to territory wars and the reward structure and isolating Relic 9 to territory wars, which leads me right into, you kind of can't talk about territory wars without talking about Relic 9 as well, which is really kind of the biggest draw for territory wars now. And Relic 9, I mean, let's just look here. I'm going to show you guys. I still do not have a Relic 9 character. And if you look at where I'm at personally, I only have 12, like for all the territory wars I've done free to play, I still do not have enough droid brains to get Relic 9 characters. And I mean, Arnold talked about this in our content creators roundtable. I think it's an interesting point that Relic 9 is a lot more of a luxury right now, and it's not going to be something that is really that necessary until they start requiring it for GLs. And so I'm not necessarily freaking out about Relic 9 yet, but I think this is a really sad indicator of just how long it takes to get this. And this is partially just on me because I don't join every territory war. So I'm not necessarily saying that this is, as many as I would have if I was fully committed to territory wars, but it's also not enough to motivate me to do much for territory wars. And if we also consider right here how long it takes to get these, I mean, look at it, with everything I've got in my inventory right now, I'm not going to actually equip this. We need 20 of these. I can't even get 5 of these Gerda pads. I'm not sure how to say that exactly. And so this is where one of the biggest crunch exists in the game right now. Not just the droid brains and these arrow magnifiers, which are actually pretty manageable. I mean, look at how many of those I've got. You can't see them right now. Look at how many of those arrow magnifiers I've got right now. 152. But the impulse detectors, the availability of this gear and how slow that is one of the areas of the gear crunch I think that also needs to be addressed, and is something that is making Relic 9 and Relic 8 for that matter particularly problematic in the game right now. And that's probably where CG wants that, but from a player standpoint, that is absolutely stifling right now. I don't know if you guys feel the same way I do, but my discouragement on getting characters beyond Relic 7 is pretty high right now. So much so that I'm kind of not doing it unless I absolutely have to for a Galactic Legend. So I'm gonna say the state of relics right now is very poor. I don't think that it's very conducive to player needs right now, unless you are able to spend a lot of money on the game. Okay, I'm going to talk about one area of this game right now that really dramatically needs improving, and that is the raids section of the game. This game is long overdue for a raid, and I believe 2022 is the year that we should get a new raid. At a minimum, we should get a challenge tier of the tank raid, at least, kind of like we did with Rancor. I think that would be fantastic. But a reimagined new raid, a Death Star raid, is one of the biggest suggestions I see that incorporates ships. Is a massive hole in what this game provides for its players right now. I think CG dramatically underestimates just how big a new raid for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is. Think back to 2017, I think it was, when we got the Sith raid. Has it been that long, or was it 2018? Somebody in the chat will have to, I'm recording this live, someone will have to correct me, but I think it was 2017. It's been so long since we got a new, no, I think it was 2018. It's been so long since we got a new raid in this game. 4 years or so since we got the Sith raid, and the engagement in the game when we got that Sith raid was peak. We had so much excitement surrounding that raid. There's so many different things you could do for a raid. I'm getting some suggestions in the chat right now. It was 2018. We could do a Crate Dragon raid. We could do a Death Star raid. We could do an Endor raid. There's so many different things you can do. It brings guilds together. And yes, I understand, Capital Games, that you don't like doing raids because it is something that is conquered and then kind of pushed by the wayside. Well, there are ways that you can keep content like that fresh, and that's something that's in your court to figure out. So all I'm saying, based on the way that this game has been played since the beginning, having no new raids is a massive black eye on the state of this game right now, and something I think is a big hole that needs to be filled for 2022. All right, finally, we are going to talk about character releases. I think this is one of the things I am the most positive about for the current state of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. We've had so many new characters in 2022. You're seeing several of them right here, and I am so beyond thrilled with the character design that we've had for most characters. Mara Jade is a phenomenal Empire character that is really boosting those Empire squads, and you don't have to have her at high stars and high gear to make use of that. I've seen that used plenty of times in, I don't have her, developed fully yet. I'm going to put mods in her once I get her to gear 11, and then I'm going to start using her. Maul is one of my favorite characters I've ever used right now. Stacking up that anguish, getting those bonus turns. So many things about this kit design that is just so exciting to use. I love all of these new marquee characters we've got. We've seen Dash Rendar adding a lot. We've seen Darth Talon adding a lot. I think some people are disappointed with Darth Talon, but I think she adds more than people give her credit for. Kyle Katarn boosting up those Mon Mothma squads. And so much creative character design has come in 2021. I think this is one of the best things about the game right now, and I want to see that continue for 2022. And I think that we probably will see that as things go on. So, ladies and gentlemen, current state of the game. I'm giving the game right now. I mentioned this in my the Content Creators Roundtable. I think the game is getting like a B- to B right now. A lot of really good things going. Some major blemishes on the game right now. The lack of raid content, the current state of relics is really not good. Conquest needs some serious updating to really get the game in an area where I think it's more B+A range. What do we have to look forward to in 2022? I think that there is really ample reason to be excited about the game in 2022. The biggest thing I'm excited about, and I think that we have to look forward to in 2022, is that we have so many Star Wars shows coming this year. We already have the Book of Boba Fett that's already running right now. We know Ahsoka is likely hitting in 2022. We got Kenobi, we got Andor, we got another season of Bad Batch. There's so much that CG can draw on, so many characters that could come from that, other content that could come from that, raids potentially that could come from that I am excited and optimistic about what is going to come in 2022. Phase 2 of gear changes is something that I think we will see early this year. I'm really hoping that's in the very next Road Ahead post, which I would love to see very soon from Capital Games. That seems like the natural flow, the next thing for them to reveal and discuss with us on what they're going to do with those gear changes. We also know that CG plans on expanding the use of Omicrons. This was a subtle Discord post. I don't have a screenshot in front of me right now, but Doja Fett did say that they were evaluating other areas of the game where we would be able to use those Omicron abilities. I would love to see that in Squad Arena or Conquest, although it did seem like he alluded that Squad Arena would not be one of those areas that we could use those Omicrons. But seeing an expansion of what we get from Omicrons, I think would be great, because I mean, I don't know about you guys, I've equipped my Omicron on Qui-Gon Jinn, and I just am really disappointed that I only get to see that used. Either I put it on defense and never see it used, or I use it on offense and I get one battle, 1, 2, 3 battles max a week where I get to actually enjoy that Omicron on Qui-Gon Jinn. And then just the general character releases that are coming, I'm especially excited. One thing I'm looking forward to a lot in 2022 is the character releases that come from Conquest. We have a really good track record for Conquest characters so far. Ahsoka and Maul are both two of the most powerful characters in the game, and I think it's really good for the game, even though obviously we got some issues with feats and everything with Conquest, but if you're able to do that, basically a free 7-star character. Well, some people might not like that I say free, but low cost, how about that? Low cost Conquest character in your roster right now that are just really doing great things in the game. I think Boba Fett, we'll have to see how he does, but based on the kit, it looks like he's going to be no different. So what are the characters we have to look forward to for Conquest, especially combine that with the other shows we have? I think 2022 is going to be a really, really exciting year. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me for my current state of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Lots to look forward to this year. Tell me what you are most looking forward to in 2022 for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And as always, my brothers, don't forget,